Krishna Krishna. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Puri Vrajakacharya Ashtotar Satashri Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Shri Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mayi Ki Jai Jamuna Mayi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi ki jai, Tulsi Devi ki jai, Samaveta Bhaktivinoda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bo. Hare Krishna, and welcome to Srimad Bhagavatam with His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami. It is Wednesday, March 12th, 2025 in New York, and today we're starting with Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 12. Dhruva Maharaj goes back to Godhead. Just a note for tomorrow, it being Gaura Purnima, we will not be having our session tomorrow, so everyone will have to do homework. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shatring Shadvarsha Sahasram Shashasa Kshiti Mandalam Bhogai Punya Kshayam Kurvan Abhogayar Ashubha Kshayam. Dhruva Maharaj ruled over this planet for 36,000 years. He diminished the reactions of pious activities by enjoyment, and by practicing austerities, he diminished inauspicious reactions. That Dhruva Maharaj ruled over the planet for 36,000 years means that he was present in the Satya Yuga, because in the Satya Yuga, people used to live for 100,000 years. In the next Yuga, Treta, people used to live for 10,000 years, and in the next Yuga, Dvapara, for 1,000 years. In the present age, the Kali Yuga, the maximum duration of life is 100 years. With the change of the Yugas, the duration of life and memory, the quality of kindness, and all other good qualities diminish. There are two kinds of activities, namely pious and impious. By executing pious activities, one can gain facilities for higher material enjoyment. But due to impious activities, one has to undergo severe distress. A devotee, however, is not interested in enjoyment or affected by distress. When he is prosperous, he knows, I am diminishing the results of my pious activities. And when he is in distress, he knows, I am diminishing the reactions of my impious activities. The devotee is not concerned with enjoyment or distress. He simply desires to execute devotional service. It is said in the Srimad Bhagavatam that devotional service should be apratihata, unchecked by the material conditions of happiness or distress. The devotee undergoes processes of austerity, such as observing Ekadashi and similar other fasting days, and refraining from illicit sex life, intoxication, gambling, and meat eating. Thus, he becomes purified from the reactions of his past impious life, and because he engages in devotional service, which is the most pious activity, he enjoys life without separate endeavor. Om Jnanatimidantasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks about his devotees, or those who have transcendental knowledge, as someone who's steady in both happiness and distress, understanding what these things are. They're just features of the material world, and not to get overly wrapped up in suffering or in enjoying. As we say nowadays, it is what it is. It is to be expected that we have pious reactions coming, been in the material world a long time, and we have impious reactions coming. And to get too wrapped up in means getting so much entangled by trying to get rid of the impious reactions that you wind up creating a bunch more, or trying desperately to hold on to the pious reactions. Today we were reading with Ravinder Swarup Prabhu. He was mentioning in 1975, Prabhupada was in Mayapur speaking with some of his leaders about what he said was going to be an upcoming world war in 1975. And the devotees were understandably quite electrified by his words because they understood that Prabhupada knew what was going on. They trusted his judgment. They were quite shocked, let's say. And after a while, they began to plan in their minds. They're asking Prabhupada, how should we prepare for this? How should we prepare for this war? And Prabhupada said, what? You should prepare to chant Hare Krishna. That's all. So in today's purport, Prabhupada mentions haitaki aprati hata, that unchecked by the material good reactions or material bad reactions, he just keeps going. He just desires to do his devotional service, whatever it is. And that devotional service can be done in any condition of life, unchecked by the material conditions of happiness or distress. Uh, in another place, early in the Bhagavad Gita, maybe right in the introduction, Prabhupada says it is better to suffer than to protest. So protest means you're trying to get rid of your suffering. So the next time someone asks you how you're doing, if you're suffering, you can just say, better. um, and then, yeah, supersedity in that verse that Prabhupada's referencing from the Bhagavatam. It means the actual happiness. That's how a devotee gets his actual happiness. He's not trying to hold on desperately to those pious reactions, but that requires a whole different mindset. That kind of actual happiness, it's not anymore about me. It's about how to please Krishna, because then he enjoys life without separate endeavor. It's mentioned also in the purport here how Dhruva Maharaj practiced austerity, and Prabhupada mentions the various sorts of austerities that devotees customarily practice, fasting, following regulative principles and such. This word austere, I was thinking about how it has this connotation of sternness or being severe in your manner or your attitude. Uh, it connotes one who is no longer in the material world just to party, unless it's a Sankirtan party, like in an educational context, somebody who actually does the required coursework, stays up late, not testing their tolerance for alcoholic beverages, but doing homework. Such a person has an eye on the future, and therefore they're austere in that context. So a devotee in the material world is austere. They're not here to desperately hold on to their material pious reactions and create more of them, or just spending all their time worrying about what the next impious reaction might be or is. They just go on with the devotional service. That's all. Hare Krishna. Maharaj, we'd certainly like to hear from you.
Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshunmiditam Jaina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manabhistam Stapitam Jaina Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Prapadantikam. This was Dhruva Maharaj. He had a long lifetime, although when it was first awarded to him, he was sorry about it. He thought I was so foolish that I wanted a kingdom. Now I have to enjoy it. But this was his neutrality. Shubha Shubha Parityagi, Yomad Bhakta Samepriya. A devotee is detached in regard to Shubha and Ashubha. Shubha means good fortune, Ashubha, ill fortune. So the materialist he's always and worried about calamities, and he's always seeking opportunities for enjoyment. But for the devotee, it's all right. If I get some enjoyment karma, then that's all right. Then I'm using up my stock of karma for enjoyment. And if I get some misery, well, I'm using up my stock for that also. The devotee that's not his concern. Materialist is always trying to up his enjoyment and curb down his miseries. But the devotee is accepting, all right, it's Krishna's arrangement. But I'm not the enjoyer, I'm not the sufferer, I'm just Krishna's servant. Hare Krishna.
I have something in the chat. Hare Krishna. Although we want to be devotees, we may not be perfectly devotees in mentality. So how do we relate to Prabhupada's statements about the nature and mentality of devotees? Question: a glorification of the position of devotees or an invitation to change our mentality?
Well, it's not just a glorification, the way we think of, sort of pumping up a position. But this is a factual statement of how a devotee is situated. When we hear the description of a devotee, these are all factual. But then we look at ourselves and we say, well, I'm looking for enjoyment and I'm always trying to avoid distress, so this doesn't apply to me. That doesn't apply to me. This other thing doesn't apply to me. So, of course, that's good. The devotee shouldn't think that, yes, my senses are controlled. Yes, I'm above the modes of material nature. Yes, all these good qualities are my qualities. But sort of as you've indicated here, you should aspire. Yes, I want to be like this. I want to be a devotee, or I want to be a high-grade devotee, or a credible, at least, devotee. Is that all right? And yes, that means changing our mentality, our activities, and our consciousness.
Anantasesh Prabhu writes, trying to always plan for comfortable life, and then we have no answer to distresses from nature and illness.
Okay.
Praveen Prabhu writes, Sukham Andriyakam Datya Deha Yogena Dehinam Sarvatra Labhyate Davad Yata Dukam Ayat Nata. Prahlad Maharaj continued, my dear friends born of demoniac families, the happiness perceived with reference to the sense objects by contact with the body can be obtained in any form of life according to one's past fruitive activities. Such happiness is automatically obtained without endeavor, just as we obtain distress.
Yes, point that Prabhupada often makes. Why work so hard for happiness? It's going to come according to our quota anyway. Somebody says, no, it won't. Well, distress comes when that happens. According to our quota, we'll get whatever is meant to reach us. Hare Krishna.
Jai. Thank you, Maharaj. Saraswati Mata, please go ahead with text number 14 when you're ready.
Evam bahusavam kalam mahatma vichelendriyah trivargopayakam nitva putrayadan ripasanam. Translation: the self-controlled great soul, Dhruva Maharaja, thus passed many, many years favorably executing three kinds of worldly activities, namely religiosity, economic development, and satisfaction of all material desires. Thereafter, he handed over the charge of the royal throne to his son. Purport: Perfection of materialistic life is suitably attained by the process of observing religious principles. This leads automatically to successful economic development, and thus there is no difficulty in satisfying all material desires. Since Dhruva Maharaja, as a king, had to keep up his status quo, or it would not have been possible to rule over the people in general, he did it perfectly. But as soon as he saw that his son was grown up and could take charge of the royal throne, he immediately handed over the charge and retired from all material engagements. One word used here is very significant, avityalendriyaha, which means that he was not disturbed by the agitation of the senses, nor was his sensory power diminished, although in years he was a very old man. Since he ruled over the world for 36,000 years, naturally one may conclude that he became very, very old, but factually his senses were very young, and yet he was not interested in sense gratification. In other words, he remained self-controlled. He performed his duties perfectly according to the materialistic way. That is the way of behavior of great devotees. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, one of the direct disciples of Lord Chaitanya, was the son of a very rich man. Although he had no interest in enjoying material happiness, when he was entrusted with doing something in managing the state, he did it perfectly. Srila Gaura Sundara advised him, from within, keep yourself and your mind completely aloof, but externally execute the material duties just as they need to be done. This transcendental position can be achieved by devotees only, as described in the Bhagavad Gita, while others, such as yogis, try to control their senses by force. Devotees, even though possessing full sensory powers, do not use them because they engage in higher transcendental activities. Om Gyananti Mirindasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. It's quite evident that Dhruva Maharaja's entire life is exemplary. He is the perfect role model, especially for those instated in ruling. And because of his spiritual vision and complete self-control, the four purusharthas, dharma, artha, kama, and moksha, never became his actual end goal in his life. But by his honest attempts and blessings that he received from Krishna, he was able to achieve all success in every sphere. A ruler, as we have read, has immense responsibility and duties to see that the citizens, to see to the citizens' spiritual well-being. Recently, I've been quite absorbed in the Ramayana and was really struck by how Lord Ram's confidential associates were forever mindful of fulfilling his desires, and his wishes, which they termed as Ramkaj, duties to fulfill all of Lord Ram's desires, even when it came to the point of having their hearts broken. And an example was when Lord Ram's pastimes were coming to an end, Hanuman, of course, a very famous servitor of Lord Ram, and he's also a Chiranjeevi. I believe there are 6 Chiranjeevis, meaning that they live till the end of time, until the final pralay, which I have 311 trillion years, something like that, the life of Brahma. Hanuman couldn't even bear the thought of separation from Lord Ram. But Lord Ram gave him the task of guiding all other devotees in bhakti and also helping to curb demoniac outbreaks and influence. So Hanuman understood that his personal emotions of always wanting to be with Lord Ram didn't take priority over the duties that were assigned to him. That was the priority. So in the material world, there's a saying which I suppose to some extent is true in the material sense, and that saying is, duty is the death of love. And for Arjuna, who really didn't want to carry out the duty of fighting, because that would have meant then that he would have had to kill those that he loved. So in that instance, so if he did carry out his duty, then that meant he would have had to kill love for those that he really truly loved. There's also a saying that love is the death of duty. So if Arjuna had decided that, okay, I don't want to fight and I'm not going to kill those that I love, then that would have been a gross dereliction of his duty. But in spiritual life, duty is the life of love, and love becomes the life of duty. So we read how Dhruva was readily relinquished rulership as soon as he saw that his son was capable and deserving and ready to take over the royal duties. Once again, showing that when the time comes, one should be ready to retire from all worldly affairs and whatever material occupations and duties, so that they can spend their time completely immersed in devotional service. We're also told that Dhruv wasn't forced or inflicted by old age, whereby his body deteriorates and his senses are all diminished. He had full control over his senses, and as the Lord had blessed him, his bodily held on to eternal youth. But yet he understood right away, because as a pure devotee, he's always situated on the transcendental position. He's never overcome by Maya. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mata, so much. Maharaj, if you have any comments, please.
Yes, Dhruva Maharaj this was the blessing he received, that he, along with his long life, he'd have full sensory power. Otherwise, the blessing of long life would, in effect, be a curse. So he had long life with full sensory power. But although presumably that sensory power was still in full force, when his son was there, he gave up the throne. Adat, Putraya Adat, Nipa Asana. As soon as the son was there, he handed over the throne. That means detached. This is the position of the devotee. He may exercise the duties of being king. He may have all the perquisites of a king, but he's ready in a moment to give it up. And at the mature time, or as soon as possible, he hands it over. This is Krishna consciousness, or this is detachment. Not that he thinks, well, I'm still needed here. Without me, how will it go on? Or what would I do if I weren't the king? I'd be bored. No, it's my duty to hand it over. I'm handing it over. And then we'll see how he engages himself after handing the kingdom over. But this is what he does. He doesn't hold on. This is my identity. I'm the king. He's ready to step down, ready to move on. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
And what to speak of lesser responsibilities. King is the most responsible person in the realm. But Dhruva Maharaj's king was ready to step down in favor of a less experienced person. By definition, the son will have less experience, less capability in terms of, well, yes, less experience and therefore less capability. But we hand it over. Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, one thing in the purport here, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is advising Raghunath Das Goswami that to keep yourself internally aloof, externally do what needs doing. This is very similar to something Narad Muni says to Yudhisthira Maharaj in the 7th canto. And I'm wondering, in Raghunath Das Goswami's case, he ultimately did just leave aside his material duties. So it seems like both Narada and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are giving a certain kind of advice, but at a certain point, it seems that advice itself needs to transition into a transition for someone who needs to make, let's say, a change of ashrams or a change of responsibility due to, impending death. So how to navigate that, as we say.
Going on blind consciousness, that's interesting. Give me a moment. The different instructions are appropriate for different times. Raghunath Das was advised, don't be a monkey vairagi, just perform your duties externally and inwardly, be Krishna conscious. Then at the mature stage or the later stage, yes, it's very good. Now, give up this dark pit of material existence. Yudhisthira Maharaj performed his prescribed duties, and then at the mature stage, he quits. So, by the direction of Shastra, by the direction of the spiritual master, by proper training, one has to know that, all right, now is the time to engage, now is the time to disengage. And biology kicks in also to assist in the decision making. As one gets older, is how you see. Of course, Dhruva Maharaj, that wasn't a factor. He kept his full strength, but generally, his body is just got kicked again, just got kicked again. He sees the dwindling of the set. These are all signs. Come on, it's time to go, time to go, time to go. So we can try to ignore the signs, and sometimes people do. They'll just hold on. Dhritarashtra is the classic example. And Vidura had to point out to him, you're totally falling apart, and you're still holding on as if you were needed there. But a person who's awake, Dhritarashtra needed to be awakened, but a person who's awake doesn't need to be prodded that way. He sees, all right, all the signs are pointing toward the exit, so it's time to go. Biology itself becomes his friend in that sense, although it's no one looks forward to old age, no one looks forward to invalidity, no one looks forward to diminishing of the power of the mind and senses. But the devotee also sees it. All right, these are signs that it's time for me to move on. So in that sense, good. I got as Prabhupada, we get our notice, but we have to notice the notice.
Thank you so much. Are there some devotees there with you, Maharaj, who might like to read?
Would you like to read, Tulsi? Yeah. Okay.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Sanskrit. Manyamana idam vishvam mayarachitam atmani avidyarachita swapna gandharva nagaropamam. Translation. Sri Dhruva Maharaj realized that this cosmic manifestation bewilders living entities like a dream or phantasmagoria because it is a creation of the illusory external energy of the Supreme Lord. Purport. In the deep forest, it sometimes appears that there are big palaces and nice cities. That is technically called Gandharva Nagara. Similarly, in dreams also, we create many false things out of imagination. A self-realized person or a devotee knows well that this material cosmic manifestation is a temporary, illusory representation appearing to be truth. It is like a phantasmagoria, but behind this shadow creation, there is a reality, the spiritual world. A devotee is interested in the spiritual world, not its shadow. Since he has realization of the supreme truth, a devotee is not interested in this temporary shadow of truth. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, Param Drishtva Nivartate. Bhagavad Gita 9:59. Should be 2:59. Why open the door? Om Jnana-timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave. This purport reminds me of the SF Srila Prabhupada who is crazy because both the devotee and non-devotee, they live in the same, apparently in the same reality, but they perceive it in a completely different way. The non-devotee, for him, this is everything, and he's working so hard to get more and more and more, although at the end he won't be able to take anything with him. And the devotee, he also works hard, but ultimately he knows he's working for his spiritual bank balance. He's not trying to, he is free from the illusion that whatever I'm trying to get now material, this is my ultimate goal of life. No, rather now I'm working to go back to Krishna in the spiritual world. So for a devotee, spiritual world is not illusory because he sees it as an opportunity to work and to go back to the spiritual world. And for the non-devotee, although he's seeing this world as non-illusion, actually is illusionary, because very, very soon he will have to leave everything behind himself. It doesn't matter how many endeavors he put, whatever he got in this life, everything will be gone at some point. As I heard, I like to share this very often. One knows, I heard that Alexander the Great, he asked when they were about to bury him at the end of his life, he wanted his hands to be out of the grave and to be widely open. And they asked, what is this strange desire? And he said, I want the whole world to see that this is Alexander the Great and he had so much, but now he cannot take anything with him, with the other world. Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, did you have something you wanted to say on this?
No.
Saraswati Mataji writes, states here, the material cosmic manifestation is temporary and illusory, but Mayavadis claim the material world is false. On what basis do they believe the material creation is false?
Well, their notion is that what is that? Eka Brahma Dvitiya Nasti, that only the absolute truth is real and everything else is false. Of course, in the Bhagavad Gita, this is considered demonic. Asatyam pratishtam te jagadar nishno aparaspara sambhutam kimanya kamoitakam. It's a misunderstanding of what illusion is. Since they don't have a personality of Godhead in their picture, they only have an absolute truth, and that's all they're supposed to be. There's only supposed to be undifferentiated, homogeneous oneness. So if we see something other than undifferentiated, homogeneous oneness, what's that? It must be false. It can't exist. Otherwise, it would invalidate our premise that there's only this undivided oneness. It's pointed out, Prabhupada points out that they're essentially at odds with Vyasadeva because they think that, yes, they're missing the point that everything is the energy of that the personality of Godhead is various energies. They think that somehow or other, if there was something other than absolute oneness, it means that the absolute is somehow transformed, because the absolute is untransformable. That can't be, and so this must just be an illusion. It must be false. So the whole world is false by that thinking. But the Srila Vyasadeva presents no Parashur Brahmana Shakti Tedam Akilam Jagat. The energy of the Lord is present everywhere, and that energy manifests so many varieties. So this is not false, it's real, but it's temporary. It's temporary, but not false. Yeah, that's basically the answer, I think.
Saraswati Mashi writes, thank you. Praveen Prabhu writes, Dhruva Maharaj realized when, after enjoying his illusory activities, realization by experiencing this world.
It doesn't say that. He was a pure devotee. He'd seen the personality of Godhead, and he was absorbed in devotional service. A devotee who's absorbed in devotional service doesn't need to experience this world to know that it's nonsense or to know that it's temporary. He knows that. So it doesn't seem that at a certain point he figured it out. After X number of thousands of years, he saw that everything, he saw it from early on. He knew this is not that, because he wasn't, yes, he knew from early on, but all right, now's the time. Now's the time. Again, Yudhisthira Maharshi, he wasn't illusioned thinking that I'm the king, and then at some point he realized now I can't be king anymore, or I don't want to be king anymore. He was a mature, when the indications were there, now it's time to shift, and he shifts. this is a devotee. Krishna indicates, now you do this, he does it. And then Krishna indicates, okay, now you're done. Okay, moves on. He's ready to take up whatever assignment. He gets his orders. Now go to Afghanistan. Now go to South America, whatever it is. He gets his orders, he goes. He doesn't say, well, wait a second, I'm right in the middle of doing something here. I'm going, no. Whatever orders he gets, the soldier is ready to move. So the devotee is like that. He's if he's directed to stay, he stays. If he's directed to go, he goes. He doesn't hold on to either situation. He doesn't falsely think, no, I want to go, I want to go. I'll go when I'm ordered to go or when my time comes to go. Maybe I'll look forward to going, but I'll go when Krishna tells me. Until then, I'll stay. Or even if I want to stay, when he tells me to go, I won't hold on. I'll move. A devotee is, what is malleable? Prabhupada word uses that word, malleable. It means you can be pressed into whatever shape the Lord wants. Yes.
Also, I remember there was this mysterious letter from Advaita Acharya to Mahaprabhu, where he said that the rice is not anymore in the man. And Mahaprabhu, when he read this, he said, that is his order. So it seems that the devotee also can order the Lord to appear and disappear and to...
That Advaita Acharya wrote that letter that now rice is no longer there in the marketplace. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, all right, I've gotten the order. From one point of view, it was an order. From another point of view, Advaita Acharya was simply saying, all right, now is the time. This is what it is. That relationship wasn't there where Advaita Acharya felt, I'm the master, I give the orders. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was taking it. Yes, he's my superior, he's giving the order. But Advaita Acharya was just communicating to the Lord. Seems like this is it. Everything is done what you wanted to. The cell is already, marketplace is full, saturated. Cryptic letter. But this is important, that the devotee is ready to move, ready to die. Krishna's, the materialist is fighting and fighting and fighting not to die. He's spending any amount of money not to die. Hold on and hold on. And the devotee, all right, time to die. We'll go.
Praveen Prabhu writes, thank you. Saraswati Mataji writes, there are times when we feel we have some strong self-control, and then we are bombarded over and over again with those weaknesses we thought we got over, and we fall flat on our faces. What to do? It's like we didn't really have self-control that's sustainable.
Then we get up and start again. And a child learns to walk by falling on his face. Then later he learns to ride a bicycle by falling. That's what's involved. So we may not always be perfect in self-control or mental control or execution of our prescribed duties. But that's one sign of a devotee. Even if he fails, he continues. He doesn't think that now let me give it up. Now let me give it up. I failed. I should stop. But he's persistent. That's also a pratihata. His devotional service isn't checked because there was some failure. All right. What is that? Sidya Sidhyo Nirvikar. Yat Sattvikamukshte. This is the mode of goodness. One is unaffected by success or failure. If I succeed, very good. And if I fail, all right, I failed. But let me carry on in Krishna consciousness. Not that because I failed, I'll give up. No, let me, what is that? Let me continue. Who is that? Shobhari Muni. He offended Garuda, so he fell down into householder life and so on. But then in a mature stage, he reawakened. All right, let me give up this world. What is that? It may even take many lifetimes. What is that in Bhagavad Gita? Success. Anekajanma sansiddhas tato yati paramgati. Priyatna yatamanas to what is the destination of the fallen yogi? I know he keeps at it. Even in the next birth, it's mentality of devotional service where yoga is revived. So he again picks it up. Priyatna yatamanas to yogis. Samshuta kilbi. Gradually is freed from all sinful reactions. Anekajan, even if it takes many births. Sangsiddha, finally he attains perfection. And tato yati paramgati, goes back to Godhead. Of course, that doesn't mean things have to wait for many births. In this life also, if there's some failure, there's some difficulty, then still let me go on. Let me not give up devotional service, even if I'm not very fit for it.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Since you have some serious kirtan men there, perhaps they'd like to lead us in some kirtan.
Sure. Kirtan. I guess we could put this, first of all. There's another kirtan going on in the temple. Quite something. But, let's see.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Shakya Deshatarine.
Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurahani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajakacarya Ashtottara Sri Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navdeep Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol. Thank you so much, Maharaj, and thank you to Tulsi and Pandava Prabhus. And Hare Krishna. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And as Saraswati Mata wishes everyone in the chat, wishing everyone a most memorable Gaur Purnima celebration. We will not see you tomorrow on this channel, but hope you have a wonderful time. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. And Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami Maharaj Ki Jai.
Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande.
Hari Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol.
Yes.